loading up the Wagoneer, about to take it home. Really glad I bought this come along. Whew. Couldn't get the hood open to even try to start it up, but we'll get there. Wagoneer's all loaded up. Let's get her home. Whew, that was a pain in the butt with flat tires. Need a compressor. Idiot. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Two announcements. This channel has changed its name to Heisey Motors now. Same content you've been seeing. It's just, I'm pretty much taking over the channel. My brother's doing his own thing with Rye Guy's Garage, and I decided to do my own thing with Heisey Motors. So that's going to be the new channel name from here on out. Same exact videos as I was doing before, tinkering with stuff. But on this episode here on Heisey Motors, we're going to be working on my late uncle's 88 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Now, this was the first Jeep I ever rode in that really got me into Jeeps in general. I just thought they were the coolest thing. And these are just the most timeless, classic, good-looking vehicles Jeep ever produced, and maybe possibly ever produced, period. So in this episode, we're going to see if I can get this thing running and driving, and then we'll snowball it from there. What are you doing, hem dog? What's up? You sunbathing, sir? What are you doing, buddy? Okay. So this is my late uncle's 1988 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. This is what he used to kind of bomb around in, and these are just the coolest looking vehicles I think ever produced, really. I haven't really dug into it a whole lot here, but I did get the hood free. I couldn't get in there, so we'll check that out. But I just kind of want to do a walk around first of this thing is really not in bad condition. I haven't crawled underneath of it, but just by judging on the body, the thing's pretty nice. I know he was a gearhead like the rest of my family, and he really took care of this thing. And before he passed, about 2 years before he passed, the motor and transmission were completely rebuilt by a local shop here. So I do know that that was done. But this thing has been off the road since, what the hell is the last inspection sticker? 2002. So this is a Pennsylvania inspection sticker. My uncle Mark, who I bought the property from, which actually this was supposed to be my uncle Jeff's, who was the previous owner of this rig. He was supposed to be the one that moved in here, but unfortunately he passed before that could happen. So I was fortunate enough to get this Jeep. I was fortunate enough to get the property. So needs a little bit of TLC, you know, stuff like this, but it just needs cleaned up, really. Really smells like mold in here, so that's, yeah, we gotta, I gotta do my treatment on this to make it really mint. But, oh, well, it did open the other day. I guess it's not gonna open now. These things are just so rad. I just, you know, this is a total, like, Griswold family freaking car. Hollow tree on the top, you know, a wreath on the front. It's just the coolest freaking thing ever. So we'll pop the engine. I'll show you kind of what the engine bay looks like. I haven't really even took a peek at it. I just popped the hood and started recording. So let's get into it together. We'll discover it at the same time. Kind of a bummer that the hood ornament is missing, but I'll find one. Oh, how do you, okay, wait a minute. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. This thing was kind of a pain in the ass to get open. Okay. All right. I did throw this in here real quick, but I didn't really gander at the motor. Other than the ductwork for the air cleaner, which goes right here. Those are always brittle and broken. This thing looks 100% complete and untouched, really. That's wonderful. So this is a AMC 360 motor. It's got a carburetor on it, which by 88, I don't know why they were still using a carburetor when they had fuel injected motors, but, and then it's got a 3-speed automatic behind it. But this engine bay looks great. I'm super psyched about that. There's not a lot of cobbled stuff. I mean, he took care of this rig. It obviously needs some more TLC because it's sat for 21 years, but yeah, that's great. So throw the battery, I guess, we'll throw the battery leads on here and throw some gas down the carburetor, see if we can get her to start up. We'll pop this guy off here. I'm so psyched that I get to own this. We did the paperwork forever, but I just picked it up, I think, last week before I went back on the road for work. And I've been itching to work on this thing. Oh yeah, carburetor looks really good shape. That's awesome. It's not all nasty inside. Huh. I wonder if I'll even have to rebuild this. Little Motorcraft carb. Is that a 2-barrel? Yeah. Alright. Well, guess let's hook the battery up. Let's see what we got. Let's try it. I don't know what that buzzing is, but we just clicked, so that means we had a bad ground here. Turn. No way. To go. Maybe some more fuel. It says it's got a completely full tank. I don't know if I believe that or not, and I certainly don't trust that gas. So, hopefully I didn't flutter. Oh, that's great. Wow. Fired. Do we have a fire? No, it just backfired. It runs. This thing runs. Can we make it run better? Well, there goes all my gas. Idiot. Yeah, this thing runs. I don't know if we need the choke set. We have a choke lever, or is that an automatic choke? Maybe I'll shove a screwdriver in there and fire it off again. It definitely has a weak starter here. I don't know if that's the solenoid that's acting up or just the shoddy wiring, but it you can turn the key fully and then it'll maybe start to engage. Let's try it again. Yeah, now the key won't do nothing. Let me clean up this wiring. Hear that weird noise? I don't know why that's doing that. Maybe it thinks the door's open. Because it's doing it all the time. Yeah, see now. Yeah, nothing. Found a body ground knot on there. Hammered another nail back in there. We'll see. More gasoline. Definitely aground. Flooded. No way. 40 pounds of oil pressure. This thing runs great. It's probably using the freaking gas tank, which I don't know if I want to do that, but oh my goodness. Just needs a little bit of adjustment, but that's awesome. Yes. I am so ecstatic right now that this thing runs, and it runs really well. It's charging. I don't really want to run it too long on this gas. I'm gonna have to see if she'll fire right back up. Timing's perfect. I think it's got a little bit of a lifter tick. Probably just needs to come back around. We'll have to run it for a little bit, but man, that was the easiest one I've ever done. That's awesome. This thing runs so good. It's a little loud. I have to look at that, but and that stupid dinging. What the hell is that? It's a little smoky. I don't want to put any more of that bad gas in there, but that was pretty easy. I have to tinker a little bit, but what do we do next? I mean, that was probably a 5-minute revival. Maybe we get some tires for her and clean the ever-loving crap out of that interior. It's gross. I hate dealing with mold. It's just, I work with chemicals for a living, and mold's gross. I don't like it. Let's see if it moves. Brakes even work. What? This thing moves immediately. Yeah, as you can see, it's dark as shit out. Thank God I have this right by my property. But let's see what we got back under here. Oh, we do have front discs. That's great. And they look amazing. That needs cleaned up a little bit there. Dust shield kicked out of the way a little bit, but they're freaking brand new. The frame looks actually much worse. Yeah, it's not that bad. Get in there with a hose, some oil. That'll clean right up. Onto my overload spring snap. Might have to look at that. My top spring is snapped off. Might have to get new leaf packs for this. Damn it, I thought I was gonna be into this real cheap. Hello, sun. This side, yep, more of the same, comes right off. Boy, this truck was really well taken care of. I'm so happy that I have this. Just need some more TLC. All right, that was never, ever gonna hold air. So we'll get these run down to the tire shop and I'll show you the new rubber that I'm gonna put on this thing. Nothing special, just the cheapest tires I could possibly buy because this is not gonna get daily driven. Well, at least in the winter time, but you get the idea. Got it. She wants to live, she wants new tires. Dude, I never, ever get that lucky with these. They always snap off. And I'm always having to drill stuff out and tap stuff. Forget that. So, let's get these loaded up in the truck. Just picked up the tires and wheels. Those look pretty good. They're a little thin, but maybe I should have gotten a bigger aspect ratio or width. But Farringer's Garage, Cochranton. He got me right in, he hooked me up. So thanks, Dave. Let's get these put on the Jeep. Got him back home. Let's get him on here. Wheels and tires are back on. That looks tremendously better. And obviously should perform much better. Now, I wish I had a little bit of white wall on these suckers. I might be able to paint some white walls on here, just on that inner side. But, I mean, these are $80 a piece. These are literally the cheapest tires that money can buy these days. And, you know, Walmart special. So, kind of stupid to not buy these. And this rig is only going to see around town. We're not doing a couple 1,000-mile road trips yet. But I just want to get new tires on here to get this thing shake down and see what the hell else we got going on, but way better. So while this thing's up in the air, I'm going to try to drain the gas tank by popping the rubber line off of that feed line and then sucking it back out of there into these buckets and get rid of that varnishy fuel. See if we can get any fuel out of here. Okay, positive. Please work. I don't, there's no way the tank's full to not be getting out of there. Upon further inspection, that snapped right off, and this one is dangling by a thread. That sending unit needs ripped out and replaced. Crap. So, I guess we're gonna do that, vacuum this thing out and tear it off and get another one. Okay, I finally got this damn ring off. You can see how crusty and rusty it is. Thank God the tank is plastic, but seriously, if you're gonna take one of these off, don't buy a freaking socket. The socket's like $30. This was $9 at Harbor Freight. I'm sure you can get one that's cheaper. It expands so much that I was able to attach to at least 3 points on here on the edges and pulled it right off. So 100% use this. I tried to use this Husky tool from Home Depot, but it's completely maxed out and without some modifications to changing the design of how far this opens, can't really use it. So, you know, saves yourself a bunch of money from buying a big ass socket. So you can see side by side here how drastically different these are. I have the top of it correct, completely lined up there, but look at the length difference there and then here. So I don't even know if this float is going to work necessarily, because it's going to show a couple gallons higher or lower. Unless I can move it on this rail lower, we can try that. But this is not going to work at all. We're going to have fuel starvation issues, so throw that away. So it's been about probably 3 weeks. I ordered a new fuel sending unit from BJ's Off-Road. This should be the correct unit. And I'm hoping where the float is set currently that it's actually going to work with, you know, how high the fuel is. And I'm hoping I don't have to rip everything back apart. So what we're doing right now is we put the unit in there with a new O-ring, kind of set it to generally where I think it should be set. We're going to put that plastic screw ring back on the top of that, which to me makes no freaking sense. And I'm going to cut the old fuel lines, cut all that steel that went into it out of there, and probably should replace these lines, but I'm not going to because I have to drop the whole tank for that. So I'm going to get all this buttoned up, and then we'll put gas in it and try to start it up again. All right, in theory, if that works right out of the box, which it should, if we turn the key, it should just read empty. Slowly moving. Went down to the gas station, got another 5 gallons, so there's about 6 gallons in there. We'll see what happens now. We got that the no key working bullshit now. Immediately dies out. There's no way that's completely filled. Let's see if I can keep it running real quick. And dies. Fuel gauge ain't reading nothing, so that's not good. I'm an idiot. I don't think the fuel pump's bad. I think I didn't hook up the soft line back to the hard line that goes up to the fuel pump. Dumbass, slow down. Getting too excited here. I'm gonna put that back on and see if this thing cranks over. All right, got that line right there, plumb back in. While I'm in here, I'm just gonna kind of clean up some stuff, move some stuff around, make sure nothing is gonna catch on fire. Hello, sir. And we're gonna put some more brake fluid in it because that's kind of low. Haven't really checked that. Also gonna check the oil, coolant, all the good stuff. Just make sure we're all good that this thing can sit and run, because I realized I didn't really do that when I was starting this up, so. Thanks for your help. Son of a bitch. I pushed that thing all the way over here, and I think I'm gonna die. I didn't want to wake my wife and daughter up, so this thing's freaking loud. All right, hooked the battery up. I cleaned up the negative connection right there just to see if that is maybe the issue for the fuel level. We'll see. All right, check the fuel sender. Haha, it was a bad ground. Cool. I don't know how accurate that is. I might have to readjust that float, which is gonna suck. But there's about 6 gallons in there, and I think this tank holds 16 gallons. So, yeah, that might actually be pretty accurate. We'll try to get it cranked over, and hopefully this does not wake anybody up, or I'm in deep shit. Anything up to that. Come on, can I get you just stuck in there? Start seeing fuel. There we go. Okay. Now what do we got? There we go. Perfect. Probably should flush that line. I don't know how much shit is still in that line there. But... oh yeah, still a decent bit of varnish. It looks pretty clear now though. Go ahead and stop that. Cool. Okay. So now we can see if the freaking fuel pump is shit or what's happening here. We have fuel in there. It's clean fuel, so it's not emptying, which I think it's working. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this bastard to light off. It's stay lit off. Wonder if that primary filter is plugged solid, because this should be running. Or I plugged the carburetor when I ran the shit fuel through there. Not good either way. It's definitely pumping though, so this takes a lot of freaking pumps. I think we're good. She just doesn't want to stay running. Well, that took a lot of fuel. It runs pretty good, but it needs a little bit of help. She wants choke. Still not wanting to run great. Definitely seems like it's low on transmission fluid, which could be the puddle that I saw under it earlier, but... Now I need to preface this next part on the absolute shitstorm that we started diving into with the old carburetor, as well as trying to swap in a new carburetor and rebuilding both of those and trying to make them work. The next half of this video is an absolute disaster, so enjoy our epic fails and maybe triumphs. I don't know. It's not fun. Got Ryan out here with me today. He's gonna mess with the timing real quick before we dig into the carburetor, but I'm pretty sure it's a carburetor issue. Also, the fuel pump does need replaced because it's supposed to have a check valve in there, which he said, and prevents that fuel from dropping out of the filter. So, yeah, he's gonna mess with it though. I'm not a carburetor guy. He's got all this shit dialed. All right, we got the timing tab finally marked after we saw it. Trying to set it to 12 degrees. see how that works out. You can't freaking see anything. I say we. I'm not doing anything. He's doing all of this. I'm just watching and learning. Come over here. We need, right? Can you see what's happening? Your vacuum lines. So they got, I wonder if they have 4 gaskets on there. Is this gonna work with just one gasket?
I don't know.
What the stinking heck? Jeez. All right.
Where's it leak? Yeah, see how it's leaking through there? Should not be leaking there.
Yeah, right onto my battery.
So,
Junk. It's fine. I think it was $6. Times are tough, all right? We got to save that. I don't know what you're doing. All right. All right, what's the problem? Oh, she's crusty.
look right there. There's supposed to be an orifice there, and I see it's plugged up. That's for the accelerator pump, and if it's plugged, that means that's why it was stumbling on idle. Well, when you rev it, it wouldn't get its fuel.
And also all that shit down in there.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Definitely a gummed up jet.
Yeah. Runs good at idle. Flip the throttle. Now you got shit seeping out. Okay, we might be the first people on Earth to put a Rochester 2-barrel on a Jeep.
Or not.
Or not, but pretty sure we got it all good to go.
Oh, did you plug that?
Does that need plugged?
No.
There.
Shut the vacuum off to that.
So basically we swapped that on there because it's pretty carefree. You set it and forget it. Ford people are nuts with this carburetor, the 2150. I don't know a lot about carburetors. He's kind of the master about
It's
it.
a Holley design, and it's garbage to me.
Essentially, if you backfire the motor, you're going to blow out your accelerator pump, tear apart the whole carburetor, power valve, and tear apart the whole carburetor.
Again.
Just to put it back in there, just to maybe accidentally do it again. Why would you design a carburetor? Like, that's the stupidest design ever. So that doesn't happen with these Rochesters, and we're going to try to run that. And it should actually get better gas mileage, but that's to be determined. So
less CFM, but
yeah, we don't need a ton of power with this. It's a cruiser. It's a freaking shaggin' wagon, so it doesn't really matter.
on a high performance, we need the extra CFM engine.
So let's get some fuel to this thing and light it off and see what happens. Gonna pump it 1,000 times?
Let me try to close this choke.
Okay.
Good.
Oh no.
She's gonna be a cold-blooded one.
Add 15 inches of vacuum.
Well, I gotta fucking adjust that because.
Watch your F words. This is a family channel. No, it's not.
Is it?
No. You're gonna have to hold this and go. We're gonna have to do something with this to go. I don't know what it is. Literally, no. I don't know what your. It was working. Well, hold on. Let's fix that first. Immediately. Dialed. Now.
Look at the vacuum.
That's great. It runs so.
Better vacuum than old Geller.
Yeah, well, you know, she's tired. This runs so much better than the other carburetor, even at idle when we weren't having problems. It was rocking the motor. This is doing, it's so flat you could probably bounce a freaking quarter on the carb. What do you think? Does it need more fuel? This has been a battle for days. At least now you can start it up. The problem is we have to also adapt a choke assembly to that, because this has a thermostatic choke design and the other one was an electronic choke. The Rochester 2 barrels did not have an electronic choke option. So we're gonna have to make an adapter plate for the old heat riser and then put in a thermostatic choke to that goes up to this. But other than that, I mean it's running. It runs great. And it's probably gonna get way better gas mileage too, because that's way less CFM.
I hate the timing. It's so hard to read.
What did you think it was?
Where it's right now, it's at 15 degrees something. I don't know if that's 15 degrees before or after.
Probably before. Isn't that? It's supposed to be around 12, so I mean we're in the ballpark. But even still, it's still way more advanced and it's not popping. So, I don't know. Call it a win for this moment. Okay, the way that this is set now, the idle screw hitting the back stud is like a
Carburetor stub.
it's like detuning your engine for your kids to drive.
Well, it's a carburetor stop now.
Yeah. So
It's like
you can't go. It's impossible to go full
like
throttle.
A go-kart with the throttle.
It's governed. It's a governor.
Well, the governor screw, they call it on a go-kart.
Yeah.
Where you turn that out and you have wide open throttle. Well, this is kind of set up the same way.
So I'll probably make a separate video on this, showing everything you have to do to adapt this carburetor, but it's really not that difficult. You just need to get rid of these long studs. These are ridiculous. We're spacing them up with ginormous nuts. Trying to get any of those out is going to be a fight. So I don't know, but we got to make this shit work for this moment because I'm tired of not being able to drive this. And
Running.
You can see where
we kind of don't even need to adapt a choke now.
Yeah.
Not really.
What do you mean?
It starts up.
Yeah, but it's already warmed up.
Vacuum leak is what was screwing us up.
I bet it won't run.
We're gonna have to do a cold start and test it.
Yeah.
I bet you it'll run though.
I bet you it won't run.
My freaking car hauler, it'll run cold with that choke wide open.
I don't know, man. We'll try it.
Old 2-barrel Rochesters are the best carburetor GM ever designed.
Well, that's why we put it on here, so I don't want to piss with anything. So much easier with this.
Oh, you want to know the greatest part? Even though we backfired it,
You didn't blow a power
blow
valve.
a power valve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that? Eat your heart out, Ford owners. I'm sure that's a great carburetor if your engine's already dialed, but if it's not, then you're screwed.
That's a Holly design, so any Holly, kick them in the trash.
Well, I don't agree with that.
I hate
But
Holly.
okay, so I had to get a 1.5 inch bolt here to go in the backside to be able to fully modulate this throttle. Now we have no problems. And then I had to get 3/4 inch, quarter 28 bolt to go in for the throttle. That's all the way in. That's probably still gonna have to be set, but I have plenty of room and clearance back here now that I could back that out a little bit if I need to change the idle speed. So basically this was, if you have a stud back here, this stud was super freaking long. If you have a stud back here, you're gonna hit any part of this assembly here. So now that's mitigated, and now we have full throttle. The problem is it still does not want to start when it's cold outside, which means that it absolutely needs a freaking choke. So I was looking for other carburetors that had an electronic choke on it, and they're Amazon ones. I don't really want to dive into that because of all their problems, but I think we found a solution here. So I was surfing on eBay for carburetors to maybe rebuild that already have a choke assembly on there. You can get ones that have a choke assembly down here or one up here. I believe those ones were for the marine application. But I stumbled across one that somebody made a plate to go from this attachment point here to this one. They just put a steel plate over here, and then they just ran their factory rod down on that thermostatic choke. And I think that's what I'm going to do, because that makes the most sense for what I'm trying to do here with keeping this carburetor. It's an original GM one. I know that it's rebuilt correctly. I don't really want to piss with another Chinese carburetor. It's just too much. So I think we're going to make a plate for that, get the thermostatic choke, see how long that rod is, and then adjust that rod accordingly to where it needs to open and close at. So that's a plan. Gotta wait for that stuff to get here over Thanksgiving, so I'll get after it after then. Okay, so I pulled the GM one off of that 307, and I think what we're gonna do is something like this. I'm gonna get a standoff so this can sit on there. I need to get an Allen head bolt that's round because that's too small to put a hex head on. And that pretty well should give me my choke. That should be perfect, actually. Might have to cut down the standoff bracket a little bit, which I might just get a regular bushing instead of that piece of junk. But the GM one's going to work a lot better than trying to mess with this giant cumbersome piece of shit, which I think is actually already broken. So that was a waste of $30. And if that one doesn't work, I'll just get a factory GM one. So that looks like it's going to be the best option, but I need to go to the store to get an Allen bolt that is double to triple that size so I can cinch it down. So I guess we'll see what we can find. Here we are back on the Wagoneer 5 months later, I think. I think the last time I worked on it was in October. Little recap. We put a Rochester Chevy 2-barrel carburetor on it, that swap. I don't know if I filmed it, but I modified the choke assembly to sort of work with this carburetor to the intake manifold. Not sure if that really works. And plumbed up all the fuel lines to it. Ran okay. We timed it. That was all good. Right now, it's been parked here since October. Just trying to move it around. Can't get it to run. I thought it was a spark issue. I just tested spark. That's fine. It's a fuel pump issue. And I bought a fuel pump for this thing, which I'm pretty sure is the wrong one anyways. I can't find it. So what I'm going to try to do is just temporarily plumb one of those crappy click-clack fuel pumps in there to my Milwaukee battery. See how well it runs based off of that when it's getting sufficient fuel, and just try to move it around here. But aside from that, this needs a lot of TLC, and we're going to need to work on it quite a bit for it to actually run and be super reliable. The best thing about these carburetors is they're insanely reliable. I have one on Old Yeller over there that I swapped in, or that I rebuilt, or had Ryan rebuild. Runs amazing. Runs absolutely perfect. It runs better than half my fuel-injected cars here. So I wanted to go with that for simplicity, and if you backfire, it doesn't blow the power valve, I think it was. That's what it was doing. Stupid. Terrible design. So swapped in that thing, need to make it reliable, need to make this thing actually function on the turn of a key real quick. So try to pick back up where we left off and get that locked in here temporarily. We're gonna have to figure out something for a fuel pump. Kind of hard to find fuel pumps for these unless you go to BJ's off-road specifically. But I think I'm just gonna eliminate the mechanical fuel pump altogether and just do an electric one. They're not as reliable, I guess, but trying to find a local mechanical pump is impossible because none of them fit. So let's get the fuel taken care of and then we'll go from there. Here's our Rochester 2-barrel, adapted pretty crudely to all this stuff. Here's our very crude inline click-clack $10 fuel pump. Hopefully this solves our issue. If it does, we can move forward with stuff, but I don't know. A lot of this stuff needs to be gone through. A lot of this emissions, vacuum lines, and everything just needs to go away. But we're gonna pump this up, see if it even works. Every time I try to run the engine, it's like barely hanging out on the bottom of this guy, which is not even enough fuel to keep it idling. Started to work a little bit. It's got to prime itself. She's working. She's gonna take a minute. Your needs primed and running that. Let's prime the carb. These are great, by the way. Take all of that. Thing runs good once you get fuel to it. That's our issue right now. This boom. Yep. Runs great. Just the fuel won't work. I think it's just running off that bowl. I just can't wait for this project to be done and at least drivable, you know? I mean, I got it over here. It's not as far back as I want it, but maybe it was running out of fuel, but I had nothing left in it. I would try to throttle it and it would just act like it was dying or the timing was way off or something, which it isn't. So it's insufficient fuel flow still. I don't know if maybe I can fill the bowl of that carburetor again and try to run it off that and try to get it back a little bit further. Looked like it was spinning a little bit, maybe. Yeah, these tires just might be junk. I don't know. I gotta try to get it back a little bit further, get it out of here, the main drag a little bit more. So fill the bowl, see what happens again. So that's the hole I just got it out of. It's 12 inches deep. Four-wheel drive works freaking amazing. So all I did to get this far, I filled the bowl back up and I just jammed a screwdriver in there because the choke kept closing. And once I kind of, matted the throttle a little bit and cleared it up, it seemed to run a whole lot better, but we're also still not getting a whole lot of fuel here. And I did not hook this back up. So I'm gonna take this whole assembly off, keep this in here and see if this is actually pumping enough to feed the carburetor. I don't think it is because it wouldn't die on me in that case, but maybe if I delete some of this, kind of see a little bit better what's going on here. This has thrown me for a loop, and this threw me and my brother for a loop for a few hours when we were working on it in a super ass cold. So I don't know, man, it's kind of frustrating. So we fired right up. tank. I think there's like 5 gallons. I'm gonna run it and see what happens, because it doesn't make any sense to us. We've been trying to, I mean, it's just me right now, but dude, we messed with this thing for like 8 freaking hours. See, when I'm matting the throttle, it wants to backfire. See if it'll do anything. Nope. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it just has these like weird spots in the brakes. Were awesome. It has these weird spots in the throttle where it kind of wants to just die. I need to run this for a little bit anyway so I can adjust my idle. I think it may be too high. I think it's probably 1300 right now. See, it wants to die like that. I don't know. I'm gonna adjust the idle and see what happens. Might be a tickle too low, but that sounds way better than where it was at. Not too bad. Exhaust work needs redone, but I get the gist of it. It's running fine right now. It's still a little bit weird when I blip the throttle, but man, it's just got to be a fuel issue, whether it's from the pump itself or maybe this carburetor needs rejetted. I mean, they put these carburetors on 350s, and this is a 360 motor. I can't imagine it uses that much more fuel. This carburetor might be jetted to a 307, which is a baby motor, but I don't know. Very bizarre. It's kind of frustrating. But I'm happy the four-wheel drive works. I mean, that was... As soon as it would allow me to give it throttle, it just ripped out of there, no problem, back and forth. So that's cool. Runs great. I don't know, dude. I mean, we tried to run this thing when it was like, I don't know, it was maybe 30. It was so cold when we tried to do it. And right now it's not using the choke. I might have to run a manual choke for this thing. I wanted a thermostatic choke, which I don't even think, I don't know if that's really working or not. Just trying to jerry-rig the choke assembly here. Ran it off of the stud extension, the thermostatic choke, and it seems to be working well. I don't know if it has full range though. Come on, focus. I don't know if it has full range up and down whenever this thing's cold though. So right now the engine's pretty hot, and that is full bore open. So it's at 19 inches of vacuum here. Still does a weird throttle blip. I did take it up and down the driveway, which for this thing, having factory everything, shocks, leaf springs, a leaf spring that's actually broken, rides pretty good. It rides better than that ZJ sitting over there. That thing rides like ass. So it's a Jeep thing. I don't know. I'm not a carburetor. I don't know. Carburetor's freshly rebuilt and everything. I don't know if it's a jet issue or something. It's annoying. But I'm glad that it's running really well right now. This is probably the most it's actually ran. Still need to do an oil change on it. I need to do a full tune-up once we actually get this thing dialed in. Yeah, I don't. Needs plugs, wires. I want to do an ignition coil while we're in there. Distributor cap, rotor, you name it. It's been sitting forever, so I'm sure all that stuff's not in the best of shape. But see, runs, she lives. She runs well until I try to give it throttle most of the time. But, I mean, it hasn't been running this well since it was parked in 2002. So I'm extremely happy with what happened and, you know, where we're at with this thing. But we need to make it run better. So, sorry for the super delayed video. This was supposed to be out in September. It was a pretty simple will it run and drive, and it did, until I ran into fuel sender issue, and it spiraled from there. So it lives. It's gonna make a part 2 though. Full bore, you know, not a full restoration, but full, it's gonna run and drive. So yes, it runs and drives, but not very far. Stay tuned for that. Please like, subscribe. I apologize that most of my videos are intermittent, but I do travel for work a lot, and I was gone a lot from September to January. I don't have a garage out here yet. That is coming this summer. Working on that. It's a little hard to do things in the freezing cold out here because we get wind gusts across this field like 70 miles an hour. It's just impossible to work on stuff. I'm trying, but stay tuned. There will be a part 2. I love this thing to death, and it's gonna get revived. This is the coolest Jeep ever made, and it was my late uncle's, so you'll see it back on the road next time. Thanks for watching.